So recently, I asked on my community section to give me some time periods that wouldn't exactly be great for an Assassin's Creed game to go into, and there were some pretty good responses. Well, except for this one. I have no idea how this would even work. My mind just goes completely blank trying to comprehend it. Anyway, we know that the Assassin's Creed games have taken us on exciting journeys through different historical time periods, immersing us in the significant events of the past. From exploring bustling streets during the Renaissance in Italy to uncovering ancient mysteries in Egypt, Assassin's Creed has covered a wide range of historical eras. However, even with its impressive success, there are a few time periods that, whether for the sake of historical accuracy or just being too outrageous, the franchise should probably avoid. Although it may appear that any time period could fit well within the series, there are certain unconventional choices that have the potential to disrupt the story and adversely affect the gameplay experience. While Assassin's Creed has evolved from its origins as a stealth action adventure into a more expansive RPG series in recent Ubisoft releases, its identity remains rooted in melee combat and stealth takedowns. Choosing a setting that lacks significant human settlements, either due to being set in a distant past that's before the establishment of major cities, or due to inhospitable living conditions, it would result in a lackluster addition to the series. Which is why in this video, I will dive into some of these time periods in human history that I believe would not make good time periods. If you want to see a video on time periods that I'd like to see, just hit that subscribe button, so it'll let me know if you enjoyed this type of video. And with that being said, let's begin. Now, when you think of the Wild West time period, it sounds pretty fun, right? Well, for an Assassin's Creed game, it would not work whatsoever. Most recently, Red Dead Redemption 2 from Rockstar Games took us on an unforgettable journey through the Wild West. This iconic period of American history holds a special place in popular culture, evoking images of cowboys, outlaws, and vast open landscapes. However, when considering the essence of an Assassin's Creed series, it becomes apparent that the Wild West may not be the ideal setting for an Assassin's Creed game. One major reason for this is because the sparsely populated towns and vast open landscapes of the Wild West don't exactly lend themselves well to stealth-oriented gameplay. Assassins thrive in dense urban environments, using crowds, architecture, and hidden spaces to blend in and strike from the shadows. The small frontier towns and lack of intricate urban layouts in the Wild West restrict the possibilities for social stealth, limiting the immersive and strategic elements that we'd expect. While Red Dead Redemption 2 showed that the Wild West can provide an incredible open world experience, if Ubisoft was to release a cowboy themed Assassin's Creed game after such a successful title, it would invite comparisons and divert attention from the unique aspects that make Assassin's Creed what it is. Trying to follow in the footsteps of Red Dead Redemption 2 without offering a distinct and fresh take on the Wild West could lead to even more unfavorable comparisons and overshadow the strengths of the Assassin's Creed series, just like how Assassin's Creed Valhalla was compared to God of War when Valhalla was first released. It's essential for Ubisoft to carefully consider the compatibility of the Wild West setting with the core principles and gameplay mechanics of Assassin's Creed. The franchise has excelled in historical exploration, taking us to some diverse time periods. However, the Wild West presents unique challenges that may require significant adaptations to maintain the essence of Assassin's Creed, while also representing the historical era accurately. Okay, now this is by far the most ridiculous time period for an Assassin's Creed game to go into, and that is the Stone Age. I mean, even just thinking about how this can even be implemented is challenging. Well, according to scientific research, modern humans emerged around 300 to 200,000 years ago. They lived by hunting, gathering, and using basic tools that are made from stone or even bone. The people in the Stone Age had homes that ranged from natural caves to just very basic huts. Their daily lives revolved around finding food and dealing with the unpredictable challenges of the environments. While the thought of an Assassin's Creed game set in this era might initially sound pretty interesting, it's pretty important to consider the limitations and challenges that could affect the gameplay experience. The gameplay would have to transform into a survival extravaganza to keep things historically accurate. Forget about fancy weapons and assassin-like movement, we'd be stuck with basic things such as spears, and at the same time trying not to get stomped on by a woolly mammoth or even chomped on by saber-toothed tigers. I mean, it might be cool to explore an open world where these prehistoric creatures roamed, just like that other game from Ubisoft, Far Cry Primal. But let's face it, the simplicity of this era wouldn't exactly make for a good Assassin's Creed game. And here's another hiccup: the people in the Stone Age definitely did not have the gift of language like we do today. It's even estimated that the spoken language only came about around 50,000 years ago. So just try and imagine the cinematics if Assassin's Creed did this time period. It would all just be pointing and language that would sound like you're playing The Sims. Sure, it might be historically accurate, and in fact the most historically accurate in the entire series, but it could leave us feeling like cavemen ourselves, scratching our heads and wondering what on earth is going on. Now don't get me wrong, the prehistoric era has its own charm and mystery. It is pretty fascinating to imagine roaming through breathtaking landscapes with ancient creatures lurking around every corner. But if we're talking about making a killer Assassin's Creed game, it might just be best to leave this time period for some other kind of adventure. Maybe even a separate spin-off game that focuses on survival. That could give us a taste of prehistoric life without even compromising the core elements that make Assassin's Creed so addictive. While many video games have explored the setting of both world wars, it's pretty important for Assassin's Creed to find its own path. Ubisoft has included references to both world wars and their conflicts in the series, acknowledging the influence of the Assassins and Templars within them. However, creating a full Assassin's Creed game focused on either world war would require a complete change in gameplay, similar to the Wild West themed entry. During the world wars, rifles, heavy artillery and armoured vehicles dominated the battlefields. Introducing such advanced weaponry could completely transform the gameplay of a World War themed Assassin's Creed, turning it into a third-person shooter like Call of Duty or Battlefield. The core combat mechanics that a lot of us love, such as the close quarters stealth and melee combat, would be overshadowed by long-range gunfights and explosive warfare. This departure from the franchise's roots might alienate loyal players seeking the classic Assassin's Creed experience. One way to adapt the Assassin's Creed stealthy origins to fit the World War setting could be to focus on wartime espionage, infiltrating enemy territories, gathering intelligence, and executing covert operations could align with the franchise's core principles. However, even with these adjustments, the resulting gameplay might resemble more of a variation on the Hitman series, rather than the intricate blend of historical exploration and stealth action gameplay that we expect from Assassin's Creed. Furthermore, exploring the world wars raises ethical concerns. These were catastrophic global conflicts that caused immense loss and suffering. While it is important to learn from history, if Ubisoft were to approach these events through a fictionalized assassin-based narrative, it may trivialize the gravity and human cost of these wars. So balancing historical accuracy, respect and entertainment value would be a delicate task for Ubisoft. Creating an Assassin's Creed game that's set in modern times would strip away the primary appeal of the series, which is the opportunity to travel back to different historical periods. Such a move would present a challenge for Ubisoft to avoid making the game feel like a near replica of their other franchise, Watch Dogs. So for a few years I used to live in London, and what you're seeing on the screen is an almost identical representation of it. Now just imagine Assassin's Creed in this setting. It just wouldn't work. In the Assassin's Creed canon, the modern age already incorporates highly advanced technology, as demonstrated by Layla Hassan's ability to access the genetic memories of Eivor from the 9th century. Introducing modern technology into an Assassin's Creed game would inevitably lead to a significant increase in range combat, resembling the gameplay mechanics featured in the Watch Dogs series. This convergence of two distinct franchises, both aesthetically and in terms of gameplay, could result in a marketing disaster. Newcomers to the Assassin's Creed series would struggle to differentiate between the two, while longtime fans may be put off by the merging of these separate entities. Ubisoft likely aims to keep us interested in both franchises for different reasons, and a modern day Assassin's Creed game would undoubtedly present a challenge in achieving that goal. In contrast, setting an Assassin's Creed game in the modern era would eliminate one key aspect. Instead of embarking on a journey through time, we would find ourselves in a world that we're already familiar with. The sense of discovery, exploration and immersion that accompanies traversing historical landscapes would be lost. The appeal of visiting iconic cities in their historical glory, such as Rome, Venice or Paris, would be replaced with contemporary urban environments that we already encounter in our everyday lives. This departure from the series' core identity may not resonate well with fans who have come to expect the unique historical experiences that Assassin's Creed has consistently delivered. Now, this one might be a bit of a reach. When I say future, I'm talking about thousands of years into the future, not like 50 or 100. I'm talking about, in the movies when they depict the future with flying cars, robots and stuff like that. So imagine an Assassin's Creed game in the far future. Sounds pretty interesting, right? Well, not so fast. The whole point of Assassin's Creed is exploring the history and the age-old battle between the Assassins and Templars. It's been like that since the very first game back in 2007. Going all futuristic would mess with that formula and risk upsetting the people that love the historical vibes. And similar to the challenges posed by the Wild West, World Wars and the modern settings, projectile weaponry could once again emerge as a massive issue in a future-based Assassin's Creed. This time it would be the introduction of advanced firearms and futuristic armaments that would disrupt the franchise's emphasis on close quarters combat and stealth mechanics. The intricate swordplay and hidden blade assassinations that have been the hallmarks of the series would be overshadowed by the long-range combat and explosive warfare. Oh, and we can't forget about science fiction technology, such as cloaking devices and lasers. This would pose additional challenges to the franchise's gameplay mechanics and even the narrative cohesion. The integration of futuristic gadgets and abilities would require a complete reimagining of the game's system and mechanics. But just remember that this is all theory, so none of it's actually real. Striking a balance between the futuristic elements and the franchise's core principles of exploration, stealth and historical immersion would be a delicate task, one that could risk diluting the essence of Assassin's Creed and even compromising its unique appeal. While a cyberpunk setting, reminiscent of titles like Cyberpunk 2077 and even Ghost Runner, it could hold promise for expanding the game's universe. It might not be the most suitable choice for a mainline Assassin's Creed release. A cyberpunk spin-off exploring a dystopian future where the conflict between assassins and Templars has plunged the world into chaos could offer an intriguing avenue for branching out, while also retaining certain elements of the franchise. In this scenario, both factions could wage an all-out war, employing cybernetic enhancements and far future technology to hunt each other down. This departure from the series' traditional formula could provide an opportunity for experimentation and innovation, enticing players with a fresh take on the Assassin's Creed universe.